Howdy, and welcome back to Hills and Hollers. I'm so glad you've joined me today because we're diving into one of my all-time favorite homestead projects, making your own healing salve. This isn't just a DIY project for fun. It's a skill with deep roots in tradition, practicality, and a little bit of nature's magic. Healing salves are like a remedy for life's everyday scrapes and bruises, and there's nothing quite like having a jar of your very own creation on hand. Today, we're going to explore every step of the process, from choosing the right herbs to infusing the oil and finally crafting the salve itself. Whether you're new to this or a seasoned homesteader, there's something so satisfying about creating something that not only works, but also feels like a little bit of old world wisdom in a jar. So grab a seat and let's get started. A healing salve is a natural ointment made by infusing medicinal herbs into oils, thickened with beeswax to create a smooth, spreadable balm. It's used to soothe dry skin, heal minor cuts and burns, and even calm insect bites or rashes. What makes a salve so special is its simplicity. You only need a few basic ingredients, yet the result is something that feels like a small miracle. The beauty of making your own salve is that you can customize it to your needs. Store-bought products are often filled with synthetic ingredients or fragrances, but when you make your own, you know exactly what's in it. Plus, it's cost-effective and surprisingly easy to do. Once you've made your first batch, I promise you'll never look at those little tins of salve at the store the same way again. Alright, let's start with the most important part, the ingredients. A good healing salve begins with the right herbs, and this is where you get to tailor your salve to fit your needs. My go-to combination includes calendula, plantain, and comfrey. Each of these herbs brings something unique to the table. Calendula is one of my favorites. Those bright golden flowers aren't just pretty, they're packed with anti-inflammatory and antimicrobial properties. Calendula is wonderful for soothing irritated skin, reducing redness, and promoting healing. For this recipe, you'll need about half a cup of dried calendula flowers. Next is plantain, not the banana-like fruit, but the little green weed you've probably seen growing in your yard. Plantain is a natural astringent, meaning it helps tighten and heal the skin, making it great for bug bites, cuts, and rashes. For this salve, you'll need about a quarter cup of dried plantain leaves. Finally, there's comfrey, a plant often called knitbone, for its ability to promote cell regeneration. Comfrey is excellent for bruises, sprains, and other minor injuries. It contains a compound called allantoin, which helps repair damaged tissue. Add about a quarter cup of dried comfrey leaves to your mix. Now, let's talk about the oil. Your carrier oil is the foundation of your salve, as it extracts the medicinal properties from the herbs and creates the base for the balm. Olive oil is a classic choice because it's gentle, nourishing, and easy to work with. For this recipe, you'll need about 1 cup of olive oil. If you prefer something lighter, you could use sweet almond oil or fractionated coconut oil. But olive oil gives that timeless, rustic feel. Once you have your herbs and oil, the final ingredient for your salve is beeswax. This is what gives the salve its texture, transforming the infused oil into a solid balm. You'll need about 1/4 cup of beeswax for every cup of infused oil. If you like your salve a little firmer, you can add a touch more beeswax. I recommend getting local beeswax if you can. It smells amazing and supports local beekeepers. Infusing your oil with the herbs is the most important step in making a healing salve. This is where the magic happens, as the oil absorbs all the beneficial compounds from the herbs. There are 2 ways to infuse your oil: the traditional slow method and the quicker heat method. Let's start with the traditional method. This is the one that feels most connected to history, like something your great-grandmother might have done. To begin, place your dried herbs into a clean glass jar. For our recipe, that means combining half a cup of calendula, a quarter cup of plantain, and a quarter cup of comfrey. Next, pour in your olive oil, making sure the herbs are completely submerged. This usually takes about 1 cup of oil, but if your herbs are fluffier, you might need a little more. Once your herbs are fully covered, seal the jar with a tight-fitting lid and give it a good shake to mix everything together. Now, find a warm, sunny spot for your jar. maybe a windowsill, or a shelf in the kitchen. The heat from the sun will gently coax the goodness out of the herbs and into the oil. Let the jar sit for about 4 to 6 weeks, giving it a gentle shake every few days to keep things moving. This method takes patience, but the results are worth it. By the end, you'll have a rich golden oil that's ready to work its magic. If you're short on time or just can't wait, the heat method is a great alternative. For this, you'll combine your herbs and oil in a double boiler, or a heat-proof bowl set over a pot of simmering water. The key here is to use low, consistent heat, around 120 degrees, to avoid cooking the herbs. Let the mixture heat gently for 1 to 2 hours, stirring occasionally. You'll know it's ready when the oil has taken on a deep color and a rich herbal aroma. Once you have your herbs and oil, the final ingredient for your salve is beeswax. This is what gives the salve its texture, transforming the infused oil into a solid balm. You'll need about 1/4 cup of beeswax for every cup of infused oil. If you like your salve a little firmer, you can add a touch more beeswax. I recommend getting local beeswax if you can. It smells amazing and supports local beekeepers. Once your infusion is complete, it's time to strain the oil. This step is all about separating the herbs from the liquid gold you've created. Grab a fine mesh strainer or a piece of cheesecloth and place it over a clean bowl or measuring cup. Carefully pour the oil through the strainer, letting gravity do most of the work. If you're using cheesecloth, you can gather the edges together and gently squeeze to extract every last drop of oil. This part can get a little messy, but it's worth it. What you're left with is a beautifully infused oil that's ready to become a healing salve. And let me tell you, the smell at this stage is incredible. Earthy, fresh, and somehow both calming and energizing at the same time. Now that you've strained your oil, you can transfer it into a clean jar for storage if you're not making your salve right away. Infused oil will keep for about 6 months if stored in a cool, dark place. But if you're like me, you'll be eager to move on to the next step and turn that oil into a balm that's as practical as it is beautiful. With your infused oil ready, it's time to bring everything together. This is where the beeswax comes in. In a double boiler, or the same heat-proof bowl you used earlier, combine 1 cup of infused oil with about a 1/4 cup of beeswax. Heat it gently until the beeswax melts completely into the oil. Stir it slowly with a wooden spoon or spatula, watching as it becomes this golden, silky mixture. At this stage, you can add any extras you want. A teaspoon of vitamin E oil is a great addition. It acts as a preservative and adds a little extra love for your skin. If you're a fan of essential oils, now's the time to add them. I usually go for lavender, which is calming and smells heavenly, or tea tree oil, which has antifungal and antimicrobial properties. Just a few drops will do. It's potent stuff. Once everything is blended, it's time to pour your salve into jars or tins. Work quickly but carefully. The mixture will start to set as it cools. I like using small tins or glass jars because they're easy to store and make lovely gifts. Let the salve cool completely before sealing the containers. This usually takes about an hour or 2, but if you're in a rush, you can pop them in the fridge to speed things up. Now comes the best part, using your healing salve. There's something so satisfying about opening a jar of something you made with your own hands and seeing it work its magic. Whether you're soothing a scratch, hydrating dry hands, or calming a bug bite, your salve is like a little jar of self-sufficiency. I've used this salve on just about everything. It's my go-to for those inevitable gardening scrapes. And it's a lifesaver in the winter when my skin gets so dry it feels like it might crack. I've even given it as gifts to friends and family. And let me tell you, there's nothing quite like the look on someone's face when they realize you made it just for them. So there you have it, a step-by-step guide to making your very own healing salve. It's simple, it's satisfying, and it's one of those projects that just feels good for the soul. If you try this at home, I'd love to hear how it turned out for you. Share your stories in the comments, or let me know if you added your own twist to the recipe. Thank you for spending some time with me here on Hills and Hollers. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like, subscribe, and share it with anyone who could use a little bit of natural healing in their life. Until next time, take care and keep those traditions alive.